In this video, we're going to be exploring what is quality management. We'll look generally at quality management on projects and then speak specifically about construction quality management. Ultimately, understanding quality management is essential for project success. Projects that adopt quality management processes improve their performance by up to 20 to 30%. So we'll give a definition to quality management. We'll speak about quality across the life cycle of a project, speak about the objectives of the quality management process. Now, those are essential to understand so you can better apply quality management. And then finally, talk about the key components of quality management. Let's start with the definition of quality management. So what is quality management? To answer that question properly, we need to take a step backwards. What is a project? A project is ultimately some sort of transformation or change. That's why we do a project, to create some sort of change or transformation. This transformation or change is ultimately a set of requirements. There's a group of stakeholders, a group of individuals, they have a need. Those needs can be transferred into a set of requirements. The goal of the project is to fulfill these requirements. Quality management is then the process we follow to ensure that with the project deliverables have fulfilled these requirements. So the project, what we've created by executing the project has ultimately fulfilled these requirements. It's a way of checking that what we've created meets the original change or transformation, which was the objective of the project. So the project started with a need for change or transformation to fill some sort of stakeholder needs. Then quality management is about then checking that what we've delivered, what we've created, what the project deliverables are, have fulfilled these objectives. To reinforce this concept of project quality management, let's look at how requirements exist across the life cycle of a project. So we start with an early stage or a feasibility stage where we decide to proceed with a project to fulfill some need or objective. This need or objective is ultimately a set of requirements. These requirements get transferred into a document like a project specification that lists out everything the project needs to achieve. We then deliver the project in accordance with these specifications. We then need to verify that what we've delivered meets these project specifications. So that's really what quality management is. We then close out the project, hand it over, and finish it and check that we've met all these requirements. The way I like to think about this is quality management is the glue that connects the initial identification of needs, documentation of requirements, to the finished project deliverables, and to ensure that what's being built matches what the original requirements are. So quality management is the glue that holds this entire process together. This process is so critical to project success because throughout the life cycle of a project, these requirements can get lost. We can start with initial stakeholder identification, investigation of requirements, documentation of requirements. These get transferred into a project specification, which gets turned into a detailed design or a set of drawings, which then the design ultimately goes and gets built. And all through this process, things can get changed, things can get lost. So the objective of quality management is to ensure that what is built at the end of the project matches what the initial needs of the project was there for. Okay, now let's look at the definition from the PMBOK. I always like to introduce a concept first in simple terms before you go and look at the PMBOK definition, because PMBOK does a great job of taking something relatively simple and making it very confusing. So from the PMBOK, the definition of quality management is the process of ensuring that a project's deliverables meet the agreed upon quality standards and satisfy the needs of the stakeholders. So really a fancy way of saying that what is delivered, what is created by the project satisfies the initial needs of the stakeholders. Okay. Let's now look at the objectives of project quality management. So the objectives of project quality management are: number one, to deliver a project that meets or exceeds stakeholder expectations. Number two, to ensure compliance with industry standards and regulations. And number three, to minimize defects, rework, and delays. So all these elements are essential to achieve project quality management success. Another way to think about this is quality management would fail if we built something that didn't meet our stakeholders' needs, if we failed to comply with industry standards and regulations, and if we spent a lot of money fixing up and rectifying defects. Okay, so now let's look at these objectives in a little bit more detail. So objective number 1 is about fulfilling stakeholders' needs. So the goal of any project is to fulfill a set of stakeholder needs or requirements. These needs need to be analyzed and captured through the requirements and scope management process. Quality is then about checking that these original requirements meet the project deliverables, so that what we've created when we delivered the project matches these original requirements. Objective number 2 is then compliance. So to deliver the project successfully, we have to satisfy and comply with all the laws and regulations of the area we're doing the project. So we need to comply with environmental laws. We need to comply with safety laws. We need to comply with technical standards. Ultimately, quality management is also going to ensure that we comply with these laws and we fulfill any legal obligations. For example, if you're working on an electrical project in the state of Victoria, Australia, you need to get certification from an electrical inspector under certain circumstances before energizing the equipment. So as part of the quality management process, we would organize this inspection, get sign off from the electrical inspector, and ensure we comply with that legal requirement. Okay, so we've spoken about how quality is there to fulfill objectives, how it's there to comply with laws and regulations. But number 3 is also about avoiding defects and rework. Can we say we've achieved quality on a project if we've gone and spent another 50% of our budget fixing defects, rectifying mistakes? Well, the answer is no. We can't say we've managed quality properly if we've then gone and spent 50% of our budget in rework to comply with the initial requirement. That's why managing defects and rework, reducing these costs to a project is also an objective of project quality management. Defects in rework on a construction project can make up around 6% of the total project cost. Considering the types of margins the construction industry operates are often less than 10%. If you look at 6% of the total cost going to defects, this is a massive issue on projects. So you can't underestimate the importance of effectively managing defects. So a successful QA process is going to ensure that we don't spend a huge amount of money fixing mistakes, that we're identifying issues early, we're following the plans, following the specifications, and we've got effective quality management processes in place to manage defects. I've seen the value of addressing defects firsthand. I was working on a major construction project where we were installing a new set of lift shafts below the water table. When we put in the in-situ concrete bases to the lift shaft, we didn't install the waterproofing properly. We didn't realize till they started leaking and they started flooding with water. We spent triple our initial budget rectifying this defect, putting in waterproofing after the fact. So we spent triple the initial budget for the lift shafts on simply fixing this one mistake. Ever since then, I've been completely obsessive about quality management and ensuring things like this don't happen, because it's so easy to completely blow your budget with mistakes like this. And for your career, avoiding things like this is going to be essential for your success. Okay, now we've spoken about what quality management is and why it's critical to project success. Let's look at the components of project quality management. So we've got planning, which is determining standards, requirements, and process. So it's basically setting up the quality management processes for your project. We've got quality assurance, which is about ensuring that these processes are being followed. And then we've got quality control, which is about the physical inspection and testing and ensuring the project deliverables match the original requirements. So those are the 3 components of project quality management. Okay. So quality management planning. This is about identifying quality standards for the project and coming up with a plan of how to meet them. So the key activities of quality management planning are defining the quality objectives and how to meet them, setting measurable quality metrics, and developing a quality management plan which defines how you're going to manage quality on the project. The second component of project quality management is quality assurance. So it's about ensuring the project processes are designed to meet the quality standards before deliverables are produced. So you take the quality management plan, which is the how-to manage quality, and quality assurance is setting up the physical systems and processes on the project. So it includes conducting audits to ensure that the processes align with the quality management plans and promoting continuous improvement to reduce defects. And the final component of the quality management process is quality control. So quality control is about monitoring and inspecting project deliverables to ensure they meet the required quality standards. So it's about the physical inspection and testing, checking things are correct, measuring things, inspecting materials, checking that there's no defects. And then when there are defects, documenting these defects, tracking them, closing them out in non-conformance reports, and then using tools like checklists, inspections, and statistical sampling. So it's about the physical inspection and testing to ensure the deliverables meet the original requirements. Okay, let's quickly recap. Quality is a process. It's a set of tools and techniques we use to ensure that what we build matches the original requirements. It's fundamental to ensuring that we create value for our stakeholders. There's three core objectives of project quality management: to make sure that what we build matches the original requirements and we fulfill our stakeholder needs, that we comply with relevant laws and legislation, and that we avoid defects and rework and don't completely blow our budget rectifying things we get wrong. It involves three core steps: planning, quality assurance, and quality control.